Hey guys, welcome to YouSun. In this video, we are going to discuss about that space internet. The headline is that Musk want more satellites. Elon Musk, we know him, SpaceX founder, and wants permission to put 30,000 more Starlink broadband satellites in orbit, despite already planning to send 12,000 up there. So the satellite will make up a network called Starlink. They could make the internet 40 times faster, and 60 of them satellites in the sky above the Netherlands. And some experts are worried they will create an importable wall of space junk. Now we will going to discuss the context. The context is the SpaceX, the world leading private company in space technology, fire a spray of 60 satellites into orbit, and this is the first operational batch of what is intended to eventually evolve into constellation of nearly 12,000 satellites aimed at providing low cost and reliable space-based internet service to the world. Here in this video we are going to discuss and we will learn about Starlink network project and why is necessary to launch satellite in order to provide internet service. Then present uses of internet from a geostationary satellite, but how will placing satellite in lower orbit help, because they want to place them into a lower orbit, so how it will help. And then bringing down the latency from 600 millisecond to 20 to 30 millisecond. This is one problem which we will see that how they will going to solve. However, lower orbit have their own problems, so we are going to talk on that. And then when will Starlink be able? It's space-based internet service, when you can get the access, and is there a downside of this project? We will talk on that. And conclusion. Before we conclude, too many satellites could lead a space junk catastrophe, right? So we are going to discuss on that some points. Those are the small points, and with this point we add some more points, so we will going to discuss on them, and after that we will try to conclude this whole scenario whatever we discussed. So it will help you in your exam. If you are if you want to know more, then you can obviously watch this, and it will help you to learn about this SpaceX and their space internet project, Starlink project. So let's start with that about Starlink network project. What is this? The Starlink network, as the project is called, is one of the several ongoing efforts. As the project is called, obviously, is one of the ongoing several effort. Start beaming data signal from space, and also the most ambitious. And the SpaceX announced the satellite internet constellation in January 2015 and launched two test satellites in February 2018. The company has now deployed 122 satellites in orbit, and SpaceX appear ready to scale up its ambitions, telling the International Telecommunication Union (ITU) in fingering in filing through the United States Federal Communication Commission's (FCC) that it's intent to deploy another 30,000 Starlink satellites in lower Earth orbit (LEO) in coming year. The ITU is the United Nations Specialized Agency for Information and Communication Technology, with the membership of 193 member stated, some 900 companies, universities, and international and regional organizations. The FCC is the statutory communication regulatory of the US. Now, why is necessary to launch satellite in order to provide internet service? This is mainly to ensure that the reliable and uninterrupted internet service. So they want to ensure the reliable and uninterrupted internet service, humanity basics infrastructure, an important means of delivering a wide varieties of public service to the world's peoples are universally available in every part of the globe. Currently about 4 billion people, more than half the world's populations, do not have access to reliable internet networks, and that is because the traditional way to deliver the internet, fiber optics cable or wireless network, cannot take it everywhere on earth. In many remote area or place with difficult terrain, it is not feasible or viable to set up cables or mobile towers. So present uses of internet, some of the geostationary satellite, let me tell you, the space-based internet system have in fact been in use for several years now, but only for small number of users. Most of the existing systems use satellites in geostationary orbit. This orbit is located in height of 35,786 km over the Earth's surface, directly above the equator. Satellites in this orbit move at speed of about 11,000 km per hour and complete one revolution of the Earth in the same time that the Earth rotates once on its axis. To the observer on the ground, therefore, a satellite is in geostationary orbit appear stationary. But how will placing satellite in lower orbit help? Now, first point. One big advantage is of beaming signal from geostationary orbit is that the satellite can cover a very large part of the Earth. Number two, signals from one satellite can cover roughly a third of planet. Can you imagine? The 3 to 4 satellites would be enough to cover the entire Earth. Also, because they are appear to be stationary, it is easier to link to them. But satellite in geostationary orbit also have a major disadvantages. Do you want to know? Now, tell me. The let's talk. The internet is all about transmission of data in real time, nearly real time. However, there is a time lag called latency. If you know this term, latency, between a user seeking data and the server sending the data. And because data transfer cannot happen faster than the speed of light, in reality they take place at a significantly lower speed. The longer the distance the need to be covered, the greater is the time lag or latency. So in space based network, data requests travel from the user to the satellite and then directed to data center on the ground. The result, and again data center will send the satellite and satellite will pass this information to the user. So this is going to be happen, bringing down the latency from 600 millisecond to 20 to 30 millisecond. They saying this thing. But how? Let's discuss. A transmission like this from a satellite in geostationary orbit has a latency about 600 millisecond. A satellite in the lower orbit, 200 to 2000 km from the Earth's surface, can bring the leg down to 20 to 30 millisecond, roughly the time it takes for terrestrial system to transfer data. LEO extend up to 2000 km above the Earth's surface. The Starlink satellite, the 12,000 for which SpaceX has permission, as well as the other 30,000 that it wants to launch, will be deployed in the altitude band of 350 km to 1200 km. However, lower orbit have their own problems. Do you know? The owing to their lower height, their signal cover a relatively small area. As a result, many more satellites are needed in order to reach signals to every part of the planet. First. Second is, additionally, satellite in those orbit travel at more than double the speed of satellites in geostationary orbit, about 27,000 km per hour, to balance the effect of gravity. Due to very balance, many more satellites are needed in the network so that there are no break in the transmission of data. That is the reason why the Starlink network is talking about 42,000 satellites. They already. When will Starlink be able to provide its space-based internet service? Do you want Starlink should provide you the internet service? So when they gonna start? So Starlink aim to start service in the northern United States and Canada in 2020. The expect to cover the whole world by 2021. Wow. So within 2021 you get a Starlink connection. The current plan is to deploy satellites in 2 constellations of around 4,400 and 7,500. Launches 60 satellites at a time will take place at frequent invariant now onwards. SpaceX say it can start service on a small scale once 400 satellites join the network. One operational space-based internet network are expected to change the face of the internet. Service such as autonomous car driving are expected to be revolutionized, and the Internet of Things (IoT) can be integrated into virtually every households were urban or rural. Is there a downside to this projection? There are three issues have been flagged: increase space debris, increase risk of collision, and the concern of astronomers that those collision of space internet satellite will make it difficult to observe other space objects and to detect their signals. To put things in perspective, there are fewer than 2,000 operational satellites at present, and fewer than 9,000 satellites have been launched. 9,000 satellites have been launched into space since the beginning of space age. Space age was started in 1957, and the most of the operational satellites are located in a lower orbit, and they want to again put them into lower orbit. So too many satellites could lead to a space junk catastrophe. Now over 100 million bits of junk surrounded Earth from abandoned satellites, spacecraft, then that broke apart, and other space missions. Each piece of debris, no matter how small, travels at speed, how fast or how small, and travel at speed high enough to inflict catastrophic damage to vital equipment. A single hit could be deadly to astronauts on a spacecraft. The more stuff we put into orbit, the higher the risk of collision became. Keep it in your mind. Again, I'm saying that over 100 million bits of junk surrounded Earth from abandoned satellites, spacecraft, then that broke part, and other space missions. So each pieces of debris, no matter how small, travel at a speed high enough to inflict catastrophic damage to vital equipment. A single hit could be deadly to astronauts on a spacecraft. The more stuff we put into the orbit, the higher the risk of collision became. Any potential collision would fragmented satellites or other orbits objects into small pieces, making additional collision more likely. In such a situation where to spiral out of control, that could for a catastrophic chain crashes known as Kessler event. Now, in a conclusion, recently the European Space Agency (ESA) had to perform the first time ever a collision avoidance maneuver to protect one of its living satellites from colliding with a mega constellation. Astronomers and scientists have also complained about increasing light pollution, a reference to light reflected from the man-made satellites that can interface with and be mistaken for light coming from other heavenly bodies. One collision could create and separate bits of junk that then cause another collision, which in turn begets more debris and leads to a chain of crashes. Eventually, Earth would wind up surrounded by a field of debris so impressible that any spacecraft passing through would be unable to avoid catastrophic collision. And this is all in this video, and I hope you got some sort of sense about this Starlink project and what is this pros, cons, and what is for you. Wait for 2021. They say that they will able to connect the whole world, and this is all about the summarized part, you can say. And if you want to know more, then go their website and check that what they are saying about it. And if you have any suggestion, you can comment on comment section. And if you are first time, then hit the like button and subscribe, obviously. And this is all about. And finally, thanks for watching.